Apple seems to be the bane of a lot of people's existence. Well, I have an issue with Apple right now, and I want you to know what that issue is so you don't fall into the same problems that I did. But before we get any further, I would like to mention Phone Doctor. Who is Phone Doctor? Well, in this episode, I'm going to be mentioning a company out of Frederick, Maryland. He does amazing work, and he was able to fix my dad's iPhone 7's charging port so I could get the precious information off of my dad's phone to his new one. So if you're in the area of Frederick, Maryland, check out the Phone Doctor at 5100 Buckystown Pike, number 170, Frederick, Maryland, 21704. All the stuff and links for his business will be in the description. Thank you, Phone Doctor. So Apple has been the bane of my existence. Well, for me, there's nothing that you can get away with Apple because I've had Apple all my life. We started out with the Macintosh SE, moving up to the Mac, the Apple Power PC in the 90s and early 2000s. Yes, so, Apple's always been a part of my life, including skipping ahead to college because they advertise when you're in art school, you must have a Mac to do art. They specifically say that over and over again. So, I do have my MacBook and I do have my iPad because that's the only Apple I'll own. I mean, my cell phone is a Samsung Note 10 Plus, but that's Android. I had to break up the monogamy. Now let's go ahead and talk about Apple's other product, the iPhone. So we're going to take you on this little adventure that I had over the past few days in hopes that maybe you will not fall into the same trap.
It's a trap!
That Apple sent me through. So let's talk about the iPhone 7. This iPhone 7 that's holding in my hand belongs to my dad. He bought this when we moved back to Verizon Wireless and is fully paid off. A few months ago, he came to me stating that he had an issue charging his phone. Well, I didn't think anything of it. I just brushed it off saying, oh, maybe it's the charger. Well, he bought some other chargers. He tried the chargers and it seemed to have not done its job of charging Mr. iPhone. So we ended up going to Verizon. The tech at Verizon sprayed some compressed canned air into the charging port, plugged it back in, and says it works now. So that was back in February. Now come June, he comes back to me, which was a few days ago, saying, I can't charge my iPhone. There's issues, there's problems. Well, I say, I rubbed it off again, like the boy who cried wolf, saying, no, it works. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I was like, no, I can't charge my phone. It's like, you will be okay. It'll be fine. Maybe it's just charge cords or something. I rubbed it off, which I should not have done. It turned out that, yeah, he really did have an issue with charging his precious iPhone. So I looked online, and I remember from when I worked at a mall in Frederick, Maryland, the FSK Mall, someone recommended me a guy. And I looked online, I found him. He was called the Phone Doctor. But before we get any farther with Mr. Phone Doctor, we're going to talk about the steps I took with his bad charging port. So we went to Verizon, and Verizon tested and looked at it and said, yes, your charging port is bad. And the only option you will have is the upgrade to a new iPhone. Yes, a brand new iPhone. And I said, well, I guess that's what we're going to have to do. And then I just sat there and realized I need to get the content off of this phone and bring it over to his new phone. This is his new phone. This is the iPhone SE Generation 2. Easy? Easy? No, it's never easy with Apple. Are you kidding me? So they go to set up this brand new iPhone. It gets to the iCloud. Well, my dad doesn't remember what his iCloud password was, of course. So, we go enter the forget password, and when we enter the forget password, it wants us to enter the number, we enter the text, and boom, iPad's now in recovery mode, and you will not be able to change your password for 24 hours. I said, fine. So come the following day, which was the day after, I decided to go back in. It's been 24 hours. 6 minutes left until you can change your password. I said, that's perfectly fine. I can deal with this. After the 6 minutes, I waited exactly 7 minutes, and then it came up with the message, 16 days till you can change your password. I said, this is not right. So I went back and it said 13 days till you can change your password. That was still not right. So I called Apple. This is one thing, folks, by watching all these people like Louis Rossmann and all these people that work with Apple products, you should know you should never call Apple. Well, you can call Apple, but it's going to be expensive. So I called Apple and talked with an Apple specialist. I told them what my issue was, and they tried to walk me through it, but it all came back to this phone. From what the Apple specialist told me, was since this was still signed into the iCloud on this phone, it's now recognizing that a foreign device is also trying to sign into that same iCloud, but on a new device, which I was later told was wrong. Don't believe what that person said. These are specialists, folks. They're here to help us. Right? Wrong. So, it came back again to this iPhone 7. I need to get the information from this phone and put it onto this phone without the use of iCloud because my dad didn't remember the password. So I asked them a hypothetical question, which was, check my dad's iPhone 7. It was out of warranty, of course, I knew that, and I said he has a bad charging port on his iPhone 7. Is there any way that you guys can fix or replace the charging port? He says, your phone's out of service, out of warranty. I was like, yes, I know, but we'll go ahead and pay for the phone repair because that's what my mother said. And of course, they told me, can I put you on hold? I'm going to go talk to my supervisor. They put me on hold. Lovely music plays. He comes back and saying, well, talk to my supervisor. Your iPhone 7 is no longer supported by Apple because this is a product that we no longer sell. So even if you pay cash to get this charging port fixed, we would not be able to fix it. The only thing we would recommend was to get you a new phone, which is what they already did. Now it came back, so what you're saying is my iPhone, the 7 that wouldn't charge, is broken. There's no way for me to recover the data from this phone to this phone, correct? And he said, that is correct. Only if you save it to iCloud. But in your case, it's going to take a few days. You're going to have to follow through and wait till the password resets. I said, that's unacceptable. And, end of that. Now, coming back to the phone doctor. I knew from watching so many tech videos online about Apple to know never send it to Apple. So I looked online trying to find that friend I met in the mall, the person who recommended me, and ta-da, I found the phone doctor. So I gave him a call, went in, visited him. He diagnosed my phone exactly as I said, bad charging port, charged the card, and 45 to an hour later came back, iPhone 7 fixed. It can now charge. It's working, information. I can get the information to the one phone to the other phone. Right? Wrong. So, this iPhone, even though it turned on, was still having that problem with the iCloud password issue. And of course, there's no way to get around it, even if I want to download apps, say like Copy My Data, which is an awesome application which I use when I worked in mobile sales. You can transfer data from one phone to the other just by using an app. It's how we transferred contacts and all the stuff from Android to Apple or Apple to Android, vice versa. Well, I could not do that. So I called back Apple, explained to them my situation. They gave me lip and they told me that you have to wait so many days. Now, finally talked to a tech person. Took 5 times talking to him for him to say, well, you can just plug your iPhone into your MacBook Pro and download and save the data directly to your computer. And then plug in your new phone and transfer the data directly to your new phone. By now, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. I said, you are a lifesaver. You're saving my life on this. Thank you. So I went ahead, did as he said. All the information transferred over to the new phone. But here's the issue. It also brought over that iCloud, and of course it still wanted that password. So now, not only was the iPhone 7 having that same problem, it brought it over to his new iPhone SE. Again, it's now about 2:30 in the morning, and I'm literally upset. So I'm talking to Apple online, telling them exactly what's happening, yada, 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 and I'm very upset to the point where, I was done with Apple. Apple was a bane of my existence. I literally talked to Apple and said, well, we're going to return this back to the store and switch it to an Android. And he said, why not do a hard reset to put your phone back in the hard reset if you're going to return it back to the store? Well, I went ahead and did that because I had another plan in mind. Now, this plan was a long way around, but it worked. So I did the hard reset on his new phone, got that iCloud, and erased the phone back to factory settings from when it first came in this box. So from there, I went ahead and made him a new iCloud, username, password, and I downloaded all of his apps one by one by looking what was on this phone. Now that was easy. I made sure all of his photos were backed up. I made sure his contacts are transferred over, but I had to enter them in one by one. It's now 3 a.m. in the morning. His phone is finally done. It's ready. It's good to go. Now, what did I learn from this whole situation? Or what should you be looking out for as a warning sign? This, when you forget your iCloud password and it hits it into recovery mode, it can take up to 13 plus days. And if you want to return a phone, most companies, especially the Verizon store, has a 7-day return policy. So 13 days, 7 days. By the time your iCloud account unlocks and you can change your password, this you can no longer return to the store, which to me was like, Apple needs to fix how you are allowed to change your passwords, especially with iCloud. It took me for a wind. This is why I don't like iPhones, especially as cell phones. I used to have one. I'll admit, my last iPhone was an iPhone 4. But after what I experienced trying to get just a simple password reset and the information transferred over, I realized it's not worth it. With Android, it's a lot easier to transfer that information. But when you go to an iPhone, it is a lot harder, especially because Apple puts a lot of leeway in it. And of course, with repairs, that's a whole different story. Because watching all those videos, again, you never take this to an Apple store or anywhere to get repaired. You can take it to your cell phone company, that's perfectly fine. But the best place to take it is your mom and pop and your beautiful local people that do not work outside with like the Apple company, like Phone Doctor down in Frederick, Maryland, because they can do an amazing bang-up job, fix your technology and your phones for cheaper the cost of going to Apple. Now with cell phones in particularly, if you take a cell phone to Apple and you say, I have a bad charging port or water damage or something's wrong with the phone, their immediate answer is they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. You might as well give them your arms and legs and they're going to say you're going to have to get a new phone. We're going to replace the phone. Can I get my information off? No, not if you're not backed up to the iCloud. And compared to going to a person like Phone Doctor, it's only $187 just to get this little charging port fixed, compared to, say, $1,500 that they're going to charge you, and you're going to end up getting a new phone anyways. You know, this is ridiculous. Now, I don't usually rant about Apple, but I am today, especially with these phones. Now, I'm going to end this video just a little bit different. Calm down, bring it back down to the low, and talk, what can you do, again, if something like this happens to you? Because this is a warning, folks. I just want to make sure this gets out to you, PND Studios, and as a warning from my show. So if something like a bad charging port happens, or something happens to your phone, don't take it to Apple. Take it to people like Phone Doctor, or people that you can trust that will be able to fix your phone. They will order just the part that you need, just that one part to fix your phone, and they'll charge you less than if you would take it to Apple. Now, what if you are worried about losing your information? Well, let's talk about a few things here. If you're worried about losing your information, some of the things that I used to tell people, and I still use when I worked in cell phone sales, is Google Photos. Now, as you can see here, this is Google Photos. It saves all of your photos from your phone, and it has unlimited storage. But if you want more storage, you can save high res, and you only have like a certain amount of storage space, but it automatically backs up all of your photos from your phone and directly to Google's little cloud. So if you transfer to another phone or something happens, all your photos will be backed up. Now, when it comes to contacts, when it comes to everything else that you're worried about, especially with Apple, afraid to say this, but make sure you back it up to the iCloud. Write down your password in multiple locations. Now, if you have phones, say like Samsung or Android, it gets a lot easier because you have multiple choices. Back it up with Google. Back it up with Samsung. Back it up with the carrier, say Verizon, because they have their own. You know, it's a lot easier. And also, again, Google. Google will save your contacts, so make sure everything is backed up. Now, of course, when you cannot do that, use applications like Transfer My Data, which will transfer devices. It's a free program from one phone to the other. If you have an iPhone, back it up to your computer, so you would have a copy of everything on your phone directly saved to your computer. Now, that in mind, you have access to your iCloud with a working password. And of course, with Android, you can also transfer everything to an SD card, pop the SD card out, and pop it into your new device, and you are set to go. But with Apple, you know, they do not make iPhones easy. You know, it's just a bane of my existence, and I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through, because that was a pain. I thought I knew everything about cell phones. Well, guess again, folks. Boom. Well, for now, I am going to sign off. I had my little talk about iPhones, and of course, I don't want you to go through what I went. But you can smile, because my online store is up, is operational. You can buy wonderful products like t-shirts, pins, and original prints through pandaanddesigns.com. Definitely check that out. But for now, I will catch you on the flip side next week. And don't forget to check out Mr. Phone Doctor, located in Frederick, Maryland at 5100 Buckystown Pike, number 170. If you have issues with any cell phone, he does amazing cell phone repair. Definitely check him out. I'll have all that information down in the comment section below, so definitely check that out. But for now, this is Rocky Red Panda signing out. I will catch you on the flip side next week. Peace. If you like this episode, make sure you like and subscribe right over here. That's right, over here. Like and subscribe for more of PND Studios and The Artist Show.